Hi! I see you're about to become smarter. This video will help you to improve your English language skills. So let's begin.
Junior. Junior. Junior means for or denoting young people. For or denoting young people. For example, junior tennis. Junior tennis. Leading. Leading. Leading means most important. Most important. For example, a number of leading politicians. A number of leading politicians. Legal. Legal. Legal means relating to law. Relating to law. For example, the American legal system. The American legal system. Level. Level. Level means having flat horizontal surface. Having flat horizontal surface. For example, we had reached level ground. We had reached level ground. Limited. Limited. Limited means restricted in size, amount, etc. Restricted in size, amount, etc. For example, a limited number of places are available. A limited number of places are available. Liquid. Liquid. Liquid means having consistency of liquid. Having consistency of liquid. For example, liquid fertilizer. Liquid fertilizer. Literary. Literary. Literary means concerning writing, study, or content of literature. Concerning writing, study, or content of literature. For example, the great literary works of the 19th century. The great literary works of the 19th century. Lively. Lively. Lively means full of life and energy. Full of life and energy. For example, she joined a lively team of reporters. She joined a lively team of reporters. Living. Living. Living means alive. Alive. For example, living creatures. Living creatures. Logical. Logical. Logical means ever according to rules of logic or formal argument. Ever according to rules of logic or formal argument. For example, a logical impossibility. A logical impossibility. Lonely. Lonely. Lonely means sad because one has no friends or company. Sad because one has no friends or company. For example, lonely old people whose families do not care for them. Lonely old people whose families do not care for them. Long-term. Long-term. Long-term means occurring over or relating to long period of time. Occurring over or relating to long period of time. For example, the long-term unemployed. The long-term unemployed. Loose. Loose. Loose means not firmly or tightly fixed. Not firmly or tightly fixed. For example, a loose tooth. A loose tooth. Loyal. Loyal. Loyal means giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance. Giving or showing firm and constant support or allegiance. For example, he remained loyal to the government. He remained loyal to the government. Luxury. Luxury. Luxury means luxurious. Luxurious. For example, a luxury yacht. A luxury yacht. Mad. Mad. Mad means very angry. Very angry. For example, they were mad at each other. They were mad at each other. Magic. Magic. Magic means having supernatural powers. Having supernatural powers. For example, a magic wand. A magic wand. Magnificent. Magnificent. Magnificent means extremely beautiful or impressive. Extremely beautiful or impressive. For example, a dramatic landscape of magnificent mountains. A dramatic landscape of magnificent mountains. Martial. Martial. Martial means relating to fighting or war. Relating to fighting or war. For example, martial bravery. Martial bravery. Mass. Mass. Mass means involving large numbers. Involving large numbers. For example, the movie has mass appeal. The movie has mass appeal. Massive. Massive. Massive means large and heavy. Large and heavy. For example, a massive rampart of stone. A massive rampart of stone. Matching. Matching. Matching means corresponding in pattern or design. Corresponding in pattern or design. For example, a blue jacket and matching skirt. A blue jacket and matching skirt. Material. Material. Material means tangible. Tangible. For example, the material world. The material world. Maximum. Maximum. Maximum means as great as possible or permitted. As great as possible or permitted. For example, the vehicle's maximum speed. The vehicle's maximum speed. Mechanical. Mechanical. Mechanical means operated by machine. Operated by machine. For example, A mechanical device. A mechanical device. Medium. Medium. Medium means average. Average. For example, John is 6 feet tall, of medium build. John is 6 feet tall, of medium build. Memorable. Memorable. Memorable means worth remembering. Worth remembering. For example, this victory was one of the most memorable of his career. This victory was one of the most memorable of his career. Mental. Mental. Mental means relating to mind. Relating to mind. For example, mental faculties. Mental faculties. Military. Military. Military means relating to or characteristic of soldiers or armed forces. Relating to or characteristic of soldiers or armed forces. For example, both leaders condemn the buildup of military activity. Both leaders condemned the buildup of military activity. Minor. Minor. Minor means lesser in importance or seriousness. Lesser in importance or seriousness. For example, minor alterations. Minor alterations. Miserable. Miserable. Miserable means unhappy or uncomfortable. Unhappy or uncomfortable. For example, their happiness made Anne feel even more miserable. Their happiness made Anne feel even more miserable. Monthly. Monthly. Monthly means done or occurring once a month. Done or occurring once a month. For example, the council held monthly meetings. The council held monthly meetings. Moral. Moral. Moral means concerned with principles of right and wrong. Concerned with principles of right and wrong. For example, the moral dimensions of medical intervention. The moral dimensions of medical intervention. Motor. Motor. Motor means producing motion or action. Producing motion or action. For example, demand is the principal motor force governing economic activity. Demand is the principal motor force governing economic activity. Moving. Moving. Moving means in motion. In motion. For example, a fast-moving river. A fast-moving river. Multiple. Multiple. Multiple means involving several parts or elements. Involving several parts or elements. For example, multiple occupancy. Multiple occupancy. Mysterious. Mysterious. Mysterious means difficult or impossible to understand or identify. difficult or impossible to understand or identify. For example, his colleague had vanished in mysterious circumstances. His colleague had vanished in mysterious circumstances. Naked. Naked. Naked means without clothes. Without clothes. For example, he'd never seen a naked woman before. He'd never seen a naked woman before. Nasty. Nasty. Nasty means very bad or unpleasant. Very bad or unpleasant. For example, plastic bags burn with a nasty, acrid smell. Plastic bags burn with a nasty, acrid smell. Nearby. Nearby. Nearby means not far away. Not far away. For example, he slung his jacket over a nearby chair. He slung his jacket over a nearby chair. Neat. Neat. Neat means arranged tidily. Arranged tidily. For example, the books had been stacked up in neat piles. The books had been stacked up in neat piles. Neutral. Neutral. Neutral means impartial. Impartial. For example, during the Second World War, Portugal was neutral. During the Second World War, Portugal was neutral. Northern. Northern. Northern means situated in north. Situated in north. For example, the northern slopes. The northern slopes. Nuclear. Nuclear. Nuclear means relating to nucleus of atom. Relating to nucleus of atom. For example, nuclear chemistry. Nuclear chemistry. Numerous. Numerous. Numerous means great in number. Great in number. For example, he has attended numerous meetings and social events. He has attended numerous meetings and social events. Adjective. Adjective. Adjective means not influenced by personal feelings. Not influenced by personal feelings. For example, historians try to be objective and impartial. Historians try to be objective and impartial. Obvious. Obvious. Obvious means easily perceived or understood. Easily perceived or understood. For example, unemployment has been the most obvious cost of the recession. Unemployment has been the most obvious cost of the recession. Odd. Odd. Odd means strange. Strange. For example, the neighbors thought him very odd. The neighbors thought him very odd. Offensive. Offensive. Offensive means causing someone to feel hurt or angry. causing someone to feel hurt or angry. For example, the allegations made are deeply offensive to us. The allegations made are deeply offensive to us. Ongoing. Ongoing. Ongoing means continuing. Continuing. For example, ongoing negotiations. Ongoing negotiations. Opposed. Opposed. Opposed means anxious to prevent or put end to. Anxious to prevent or put end to. For example, opposed to the construction of nuclear power plants. Opposed to the construction of nuclear power plants. Optimistic. Optimistic. Optimistic means hopeful and confident about future. Hopeful and confident about future. For example, the optimistic mood of the 60s. The optimistic mood of the 60s. Organic. Organic. Organic means relating to living matter. Relating to living matter. For example, organic soils. Organic soils. Organized. Organized. Organized means arranged in systematic way. Arranged in systematic way. For example, organized crime. Organized crime. Outdoor. Outdoor. Outdoor means done, situated, or used out of doors. Done, situated, or used out of doors. For example, a huge outdoor concert. A huge outdoor concert. Outer. Outer. Outer means external. External. For example, the outer door. The outer door. Outstanding. Outstanding. Outstanding means exceptionally good. Exceptionally good. For example, the team's outstanding performance. The team's outstanding performance. Overall. Overall. Overall means taking everything into account. Taking everything into account. For example, the overall effect is impressive. The overall effect is impressive. Overseas. Overseas. Overseas means from, to, or relating to foreign country. From, to, or relating to foreign country. For example, overseas trips. Overseas trips. Painful. Painful. Painful means affected with pain. Affected with pain. For example, her ankle was very painful. Her ankle was very painful. Pale. Pale. Pale means light in color or shade. Light in color or shade. For example, choose pale floral patterns for walls. Choose pale floral patterns for walls. Parallel. Parallel. Parallel means side by side and separated by same distance. Side by side and separated by same distance. For example, parallel lines never meet. Parallel lines never meet. Part-time. Part-time. Part-time means occupying only part of usual working day or week. Occupying only part of usual working day or week. For example, part-time jobs. Part-time jobs. Passionate. Passionate. Passionate means having, showing, or caused by strong feelings or beliefs. Having, showing, or caused by strong feelings or beliefs. For example, passionate pleas for help. Passionate pleas for help. Patient. Patient. Patient means able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Able to accept or tolerate delays, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. For example, be patient, your time will come. Be patient, your time will come. Peaceful. Peaceful. Peaceful means free from disturbance. Free from disturbance. For example, everything was so quiet and peaceful in the early morning. Everything was so quiet and peaceful in the early morning. Permanent. Permanent. Permanent means lasting or intended to last or remain unchanged indefinitely. Lasting or intended to last or remain unchanged indefinitely. For example, a permanent ban on the dumping of radioactive waste at sea. A permanent ban on the dumping of radioactive waste at sea. Pleasant. Pleasant. Pleasant means giving sense of happy satisfaction or enjoyment. Giving sense of happy satisfaction or enjoyment. For example, a very pleasant evening. A very pleasant evening. Plus. Plus. Plus means after number etc., at least. After number etc., at least. For example, companies put losses at 500,000 plus. Companies put losses at 500,000 plus. Pointed. Pointed. Pointed means having sharpened or tapered tip or end. Having sharpened or tapered tip or end. For example, his face tapers to a pointed chin. His face tapers to a pointed chin. Poisonous. Poisonous. Poisonous means causing death or illness if taken into body. Causing death or illness if taken into body. For example, poisonous chemicals. Poisonous chemicals. Political. Political. Political means relating to government or public affairs. Relating to government or public affairs. For example, A period of political and economic stability. A period of political and economic stability. Potential. Potential. Potential means having capacity to develop. Having capacity to develop. For example, a two-pronged campaign to woo potential customers. A two-pronged campaign to woo potential customers. Powerful. Powerful. Powerful means having control and influence. Having control and influence. For example, the world's most powerful nation. The world's most powerful nation. Practical. Practical. Practical means concerned with actual doing or use of something. Concerned with actual doing or use of something. For example, there are two obvious practical applications of the research. There are two obvious practical applications of the research. Precious. Precious. Precious means of great value. Of great value. For example, precious works of art. Precious works of art. Precise. Precise. Precise means marked by exactness and accuracy of expression or detail. Marked by exactness and accuracy of expression or detail. For example, precise directions. Precise directions. Predictable. Predictable. Predictable means able to be predicted. Able to be predicted. For example, the market is volatile and never predictable. The market is volatile and never predictable. Pregnant. Pregnant. Pregnant means of woman or female animal, having child or young developing in uterus. Of woman or female animal, having child or young developing in uterus. For example, she was heavily pregnant with her second child. She was heavily pregnant with her second child. Previous. Previous. Previous means existing or occurring before in time or order. Existing or occurring before in time or order. For example, she looked tired after her exertions of the previous evening. She looked tired after her exertions of the previous evening. Prime. Prime. Prime means main. Main. For example, her prime concern is the well-being of the patient. Her prime concern is the well-being of the patient. Principle. Principle. Principle means main. Main. For example, the country's principal cities. The country's principal cities. Probable. Probable. Probable means likely to happen or be case. Likely to happen or be case. For example, it is probable that the economic situation will deteriorate further. It is probable that the economic situation will deteriorate further. Progressive. Progressive. Progressive means happening or developing gradually. Happening or developing gradually. For example, a progressive decline in popularity. A progressive decline in popularity. Promising. Promising. Promising means showing signs of future success. Showing signs of future success. For example, a promising actor. A promising actor. Proper. Proper. Proper means genuine. Genuine. For example, she's never had a proper job. She's never had a proper job. Proud. Proud. Proud means feeling pleasure or satisfaction as result of achievements, etc. Feeling pleasure or satisfaction as result of achievements, etc. For example, a proud grandma of 3 boys. A proud grandma of 3 boys. Psychological. Psychological. Psychological means of, affecting, or arising in mind. Of, affecting, or arising in mind. For example, the victim had sustained physical and psychological damage. The victim had sustained physical and psychological damage. Qualified. Qualified. Qualified means officially recognized as being trained to perform particular job. Officially recognized as being trained to perform particular job. For example, newly qualified nurses. Newly qualified nurses. Racial. Racial. Racial means relating to race. Relating to race. For example, a racial minority. A racial minority. Racist. Racist. Racist means prejudiced against others on basis of their racial or ethnic group. Prejudiced against others on basis of their racial or ethnic group. For example, we are investigating complaints about racist abuse. We are investigating complaints about racist abuse. Random. Random. Random means made, done, or happening without method or conscious decision. Made, done, or happening without method or conscious decision. For example, a random sample of 100 households. A random sample of 100 households. Rapid. Rapid. Rapid means happening in short time or at great rate. Happening in short time or at great rate. For example, the country's rapid economic decline. The country's rapid economic decline. Rare. Rare. Rare means not occurring very often. Not occurring very often. For example, a rare genetic disorder. A rare genetic disorder. Raw. Raw. Raw means of food, not cooked. of food, not cooked. For example, raw eggs. Raw eggs. Reasonable. Reasonable. Reasonable means having sound judgment. Having sound judgment. For example, no reasonable person could have objected. No reasonable person could have objected. Regional. Regional. Regional means relating to or characteristic of region. Relating to or characteristic of region. For example, regional and local needs. Regional and local needs. Related. Related. Related means belonging to same family or type. Belonging to same family or type. For example, sleeping sickness and related diseases. Sleeping sickness and related diseases. Relative. Relative. Relative means considered in relation or in proportion to something else. Considered in relation or in proportion to something else. For example, the relative effectiveness of the various mechanisms is not known. The relative effectiveness of the various mechanisms is not known. Relaxed. Relaxed. Relaxed means free from tension and anxiety. Free from tension and anxiety. For example, we were having a great time and feeling very relaxed. We were having a great time and feeling very relaxed.
Great! Watch again, practice the sound, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.